This is the Cycling Over 60 podcast, Season 2, Episode 3, Interview with the Internet, and I'm your host, Tom Butler. I am in the midst of a 10-week program that I hope will help me lose around 20 pounds before I start this season's challenge. I would like to move forward without the extra weight to carry up hills and just generally feel better. I still haven't decided for sure what I will do this season, but I'm leaning heavily toward biking across the state of Washington. I have 53 more days to go on this program, and it isn't going well. I'm still down 5 pounds from where I started this program, which makes it very possible for me to make my 20-pound goal. Again, I understand that weight isn't the best metric, but I'm using it as a feasible goal, and at the end of the 53 days, I will do another body composition scan. Here are a few problems. My meals are basically the same for the entire 10 weeks. However, we always visit family on Saturday, and I've decided to just make the best food choices I can make that day and not try to bring my normal food. My extended family makes really healthy food choices, so it usually isn't an issue to find something healthy. The biggest issue, though, and I'm having it almost every day, is the lack of planning. I'm experiencing that the planning aspect of any good program is relatively difficult. Making sure I have the food I need when I need it is taking more thought than I initially predicted. I am frequently out and about somewhere and then realize I didn't anticipate being away from the house and I don't have what I need to stick to the program. I've become so accustomed to popping into a restaurant when I'm hungry that I just don't think about taking food with me. This is going to have to change. On the exercise front, I'm still failing miserably. We did go through a really hot spell, but it isn't really an excuse. And I haven't hit the gym once. So all in all, I'm sorry to say that I can only give myself a grade of a D for my efforts last week. I am again in the position this week to say that I'm going to work on some solutions to help me do a better job. Hopefully next week, I'll be able to report some successes. During several previous episodes, I have talked about the impression people have when it comes to cyclists. I have wondered if it is becoming more positive as time goes on. In the first episode of this season, Nick Deshay talks about how he thinks the image of the cyclist needs to be transformed. He stated that he believes that people need to see that cyclists come from all walks of life, that cycling in the U.S. needs to be seen as an activity that meets the needs of a diverse group of people like it is in other countries. I thought it'd be nice to go out and read a massive amount of information on the internet to see what people are saying about cycling. And then I considered that ChatGPT has already consumed the entire internet as it was a few years ago. So I decided I would do something very different and interview ChatGPT. ChatGPT responds to a question by searching the massive amount of information it has amassed and replying one word at a time. It ends up giving a response that is somewhat of an aggregate of the information on the internet. I was interested what that aggregate would say about cycling. To start out, I prompted ChatGPT to provide questions that a person would ask on a podcast to interview an experienced cyclist. Then I used those questions as prompts. I felt like the responses could be kind of dry, so I included a prompt for the answers to be humorous. What you will hear used two AI platforms. One is ChatGPT and the other is Murph. Murph is an AI program for text-to-speech translation. Sometimes there are text-to-speech problems in the final recording you will hear, simply because Murph isn't perfect at comprehending exactly what ChatGPT has written. For example, ChatGPT throws some French in the mix, but Murph doesn't always handle it very well. I thought about getting a person to read the ChatGPT output, but I thought it would be better for this episode to hear how Murph handled it. This is a big experiment, and I'm very curious whether or not you find this entertaining. I doubt I will ever do this again, but I hope you will find it intriguing because I did. But I'd be really interested for any comments that you have. So send me an email or hit me up on Instagram. You can find both those links in the show notes. Here's my interview with the internet. Chat, the first thing I'd like to ask is, what got you into bicycling?
Well, let me tell you, it all started back when dinosaurs were pedaling around on their own mini bikes. Kidding, but seriously, I've been biking since the days when helmets were basically just a bunch of questionable excuses not to wear one. I got into cycling because I realized it was the closest thing to flying without actually leaving the ground. I mean, who needs a cape when you've got a bike? It was like a love affair between me and the open road, or occasionally the not-so-open bushes why I took a wrong turn. But hey, bruises build character, right? And let's not forget the real reason, the promise of consuming obscene amounts of carbs and still feeling like a champion. Who knew that wearing padded shorts would become my secret weapon against wedgie-induced humiliation? So, there you have it, cycling. My lifelong quest for windblown hair, a biker's tan that rivals a raccoon's, and a legitimate excuse to wear neon-colored spandex in public.
Let's pause to talk about the information here. ChatGPT has consumed the information across the internet. In response to my question, it spit out comments on bicycling being like flying, and cycling is about consuming massive amounts of carbs. So across the internet, people have shared these thoughts. And when ChatGPT searched to complete a response to my question, these things rose to the top. Let's continue. Can you talk about a favorite biking route or trail and what makes it special to you?
Oh, you bet I have a favorite biking route. It's like asking a squirrel if it has a favorite tree to stash its acorns. My go-to route is like the holy grail of two-wheeled escapades. It's a path so legendary that even the mosquitoes salute me as I whiz by. Picture this. A trail that winds through enchanted forests where tree roots try to play jump rope with your front wheel. There are hills so steep that even mountain goats are like, nah, I'll just spectate from here. And of course, the occasional squirrel derby, where they dart across the trail like they're late for a convention. But what truly makes it special? It's like a personal playground of challenges and triumphs. Each uphill battle is a testament to my calf muscles' resilience, and every downhill rush feels like a roller coaster designed by a mad scientist. Not to mention the breathtaking views that make me wonder if I accidentally stumbled into a travel brochure photo shoot. And let's not forget the trailside snack stops. I've developed an uncanny ability to spot the best spots to refuel, whether it's a hidden berry bush or a conveniently placed coffee shop. It's like my bike has a built-in radar for caffeine and carbs. So, in short, my favorite biking route is like a treasure map, with sweat as my ink and tire tracks as my X mark the spot. It's a journey that makes me realize I've been biking long enough to have turned my sense of direction into an art form that occasionally leads me back to my starting point when I get overly enthusiastic about detours.
What type of cycling do you enjoy most?
My dear friend, let me regale you with the epic tale of my cycling preferences. You see, I've been around the cycling block so many times that my bike's GPS has started giving me directions to my favorite ice cream parlor. Now, when it comes to the type of cycling I enjoy most, it's like choosing between a buffet of pedal-powered delights. There's road cycling, where I channel my inner Lance Armstrong, minus the performance-enhancing stuff, of course, and pretend I'm in a high-speed race with squirrels. Then there's mountain biking, a dance with danger where tree roots are my dance partners and mud is my haute couture. I navigate those trails like a seasoned explorer, occasionally discovering new ways to combine colorful language when my tire decides to embrace a rock in a passionate clinch. Commuting, though, it's like being in a real-life video game dodging cars, pedestrians, and rogue potholes. I perfected the art of executing the I meant to bunny hop that maneuver, even if it ends with me frantically clutching my handlebars. And let's not forget about leisurely rides, where I pedal at a pace that can best be described as elegant sloth. The wind in my hair is my personal stylist, and I let it whip my helmet hair into a true work of art. But you know, deep down, my absolute favorite type of cycling is the one where I get to stop and savor the scenery. Whether it's an unexpected sunset over the horizon or a field of flowers that smells suspiciously like victory, those are the moments that remind me why I've been pedaling through life with a grin that can only be described as insect collector chic. So, in conclusion, my choice of cycling flavor depends on the day, the mood, and the number of cookies I plan on consuming afterward. It's a smorgasbord of pedal-powered hilarity that keeps me coming back for more, much like a buffet with unlimited dessert options, only sweatier.
Have you participated in any cycling events or races? If so, what was that experience like?
Yes, my cycling compatriot. I've waded through the sea of lycra-clad warriors and crossed the finish line of cycling events and races that could only be orchestrated by a mischievous squirrel with a stopwatch. Let me regale you with tales of my adventures in the realm of organized two-wheeled chaos. First, there's the classic charity ride, where I pedaled with the gusto of a caffeinated kangaroo to save kittens or trees or some equally noble cause. The euphoria of doing good was only slightly dampened by the realization that my legs were protesting like rebellious teenagers. Then came the grandiose Gran Fondo, where I joined a horde of riders decked out in more neon colors than a psychedelic unicorn rave. As I pedaled alongside these fellow enthusiasts, we shared war stories about chafing and swapped secret strategies for inhaling energy gels without gagging. Of course, there was the time I accidentally entered a race that should have been titled Mountain Mayhem, Torture on Two Wheels. I ascended hills so steep they could make a mountain goat question its life choices. My lungs performed an opera of wheezes, while my heart pounded like a drummer in a rock band on double espresso. And let's not forget the time I tried my hand at a criterium race, navigating a maze of hairpin turns like a squirrel avoiding traffic. Each lap felt like a high-speed carnival ride, and I'm pretty sure I set a new record for most nervous glances over shoulder. The camaraderie, though, was the real treasure of these events. Sharing post-race stories about mistaking a fellow rider's helmet for a restroom, or bonding over our collective inability to gracefully dismount, created a sense of belonging only found in the tribe of pedal pushers. So, in summary, cycling events and races have been a wild journey of triumph, triumphing over adversity, and then triumphing over triumph itself. They are like a buffet of sweat, camaraderie, and the occasional inexplicable victory dance at the finish line. And you can bet your bike pump that I'll keep diving into these events with the enthusiasm of a squirrel after an acorn buffet, just with more colorful language.
Do you have any memorable or adventurous bike stories to share?
Gather round, young cyclist, and prepare to be regaled with tales from the pedal-powered annals of my life. Strap on your helmet, because we're about to embark on a roller coaster of ridiculousness, courtesy of my two-wheeled adventures. Picture this: a serene countryside ride on a breezy day. I was zipping along, feeling like a majestic eagle soaring through the wind, until I encountered a rogue chicken that apparently thought it was the Tour de Cluck. It chased me for a good kilometer, flapping its wings and clucking like an angry motivational speaker. I emerged victorious, though slightly more poultry-phobic. Then there was the time I attempted a trail that was basically the bike version of a horror movie. Twisted roots and gnarly rocks conspired to make my ride a symphony of near falls and frantic whoa moments. I emerged from the trail bruised, battered, and with a newfound respect for trees with personal space issues. And let's not forget the epic battle against the elements during a rainstorm that could only be described as a biblical event for bicycles. My raincoat became a sail, my bike tires turned into makeshift water skis, and I basically transformed into a drowned rat with a helmet. But my piece de resistance of biking absurdity. The day I accidentally rode into a nudist beach. Yes, you heard that right. As I pedaled along, minding my business, I suddenly found myself surrounded by a sea of sun-kissed birthday suits. My face turned a shade of red that matched my helmet, and I pedaled away like a gazelle fleeing from an awkward encounter. So, my young friend, these are just a few of the many chapters from my book of biking escapades. Each adventure has added a layer of craziness to my cycling journey, making me wiser, more cautious sometimes, and infinitely more prepared for whatever the pedal-powered world throws my way. Remember, every misadventure is just another story to laugh about later, preferably over a post-ride pizza feast.
I am pausing just to make an observation that, again, ChatGPT is making up these stories, of course, going out to the internet and pulling bits and pieces of information, weaving them together in these stories. Just interesting to me what story elements it chose to throw together here. Okay, back to it. What's your preferred way to maintain and care for your bike?
My dear bicycle companion, maintaining and caring for my two-wheeled steed is a ritual as sacred as a squirrel's nut-burying routine. Let me bestow upon you my unconventional, yet strangely effective, methods of bike upkeep. Firstly, I've embraced the no-clean philosophy. Mud and dirt on the frame? Those are like badges of honor, proudly displaying my off-road conquests. Chain gunk? It's my bike's way of accessorizing with a hint of industrial chic. Rust? That's just character development, my bike's way of showing it's weathered life's storms. Speaking of the chain, I've discovered that the optimal lubricant is a mysterious blend of optimism, wishful thinking, and a dash of squirrel magic. Sure, there are specialized lubes out there, but I firmly believe that the chain thrives on the emotional connection we share during my heartfelt attempts at lubrication. Tire pressure. Oh, that's where my finely tuned intuition comes into play. I simply give the tires a good squeeze and listen for the faintest whisper of protest. It's a form of telepathic communication that only seasoned cyclists can master. When it comes to bike storage, the garage has become a symbiotic habitat shared with all manner of forgotten objects. My bike nestles among ancient golf clubs, dusty gardening tools, and long-lost board games. It's like a nostalgia party, with my bike being the guest of honor. And as for bike tools, well, I've perfected the art of the multi-tool ballet. I dance around my bike with a Swiss Army knife in one hand and a pliers in the other, performing maneuvers that would make a circus contortionist envious. So, in essence, my preferred way of maintaining and caring for my bike is a whimsical dance between practicality and a stubborn refusal to adhere to conventional norms. After all, a bike isn't just a means of transportation, it's a partner in crime, an accomplice in adventure, and a canvas for creative maintenance techniques that only a true biking connoisseur could appreciate.
I'll pause again to say that I almost cut this part out because it was just so worthless as far as an answer. It really went for the humor on that response, I feel. But I did think it was interesting enough to leave in, so hopefully you found that entertaining. Okay, back to the questions. How would you say that bicycling has impacted your physical and mental well-being?
My friend, the impact of bicycling on my physical and mental well-being is akin to discovering a secret stash of energy gels in the middle of a desert ride. Allow me to wax poetic about the transformation I've undergone thanks to my trusty two-wheeler. Physically, I've evolved from a mere mortal into a finely tuned machine with the uncanny ability to eat pasta by the pound without remorse. My quads have become the equivalent of tree trunks, and my calves are practically their own support group for achieving greatness in calfdom. But let's not forget about the calluses. The battle-hardened hands that grip my handlebars like vice grips. I like to think of them as proof that I'm ready to join the elite ranks of the Palm Wrestling League if my bike suddenly turns into a mischievous bucking bronco. Mentally, bicycling has transformed me into a philosopher on wheels. As I pedal along, I ponder life's deepest mysteries, like why squirrels seem to have a personal vendetta against crossing paths with bicycles, and whether a bike helmet could be repurposed as a stylish hat for squirrels. Stress. Oh, that's been chased away faster than a squirrel spotting an approaching dog. The rhythmic motion of pedaling is like a soothing lullaby for my brain, lulling it into a state of zen-like tranquility, at least until a road pothole jolts me back to reality. But let's not overlook the therapeutic power of my cycling wardrobe. Donning my neon spandex superhero suit transforms me into a fearless cyclist, ready to conquer any hill, dodge any obstacle, and occasionally startle innocent bystanders with my fashion choices. So, in a nutshell, bicycling has turned me into a chiseled Adonis with the mental prowess of a squirrel whisperer. It's a symphony of sweat, triumph, and occasional absurdity that has me pedaling through life with a grin that can only be described as wind-in-me-hair euphoria.
Are there any cycling-related goals you're currently working towards?
My dear cycling confidant, goals in the world of pedal-powered escapades are like the squirrel's elusive acorns. You chase after them with wild determination, only to find them mysteriously vanishing when you least expect it. But fear not, for I shall regale you with the ever-evolving saga of my cycling aspirations. Firstly, there's the grand quest for the mythical flawless dismount. You know, the one where you come to a graceful stop without wobbling like a tipsy penguin. I practice this art form daily, attempting to channel the elegance of a gazelle while avoiding looking like Bambi on an ice rink. Then there's the elusive hill-conquering badge. It's like a video game level that I keep playing but never seem to master. I approach hills with the determination of a squirrel guarding its last nut, only to reach the top with the wheezing of a steam engine and the grace of a charging rhinoceros. I'm also on a noble mission to master the snack retrieval without stopping maneuver. You see, my handlebar bag is like a treasure chest of mid-ride sustenance, but retrieving a snack mid-pedal requires the dexterity of a magician. I've lost count of the times I've inadvertently flung a granola bar into the wild as I attempted to channel my inner Houdini. And let's not forget my lifelong quest for the perfect bike selfie. It's a delicate dance of capturing the breathtaking scenery, the wind-blown hair, and the chiseled calves, all while avoiding accidental photos of my nostrils or that one squirrel that insists on photobombing. So, my friend, While my cycling-related goals might seem a tad whimsical, they're what keep me pedaling with a sense of purpose and a grin that could rival the most mischievous of squirrels. With every wobble, every triumphant ascent, and every snack retrieval mishap, I'm reminded that the journey is the real treasure, even if my goals seem to be ever elusive.
So, have you ever biked in a different country or city? How does that experience compare to biking at home?
My dear cycling voyager, let me regale you with tales of my pedal-powered escapades across foreign lands and unfamiliar territories. Biking in different countries and cities is like discovering a buffet of new challenges, eccentricities, and occasionally, squirrel-themed surprises. Picture this, me, navigating the bustling streets of a foreign city like a demented GPS with a penchant for detours. The road signs might be in a language I can't decipher, but the universal language of road rage is surprisingly fluent. Dodging cars, pedestrians, and rogue animals becomes a high-stakes dance of survival, like a squirrel zigzagging through traffic with a nut fetish. Then there's the joy of discovering unique cycling customs. In some places, bikes are treated like royalty, with dedicated lanes and even traffic signals just for us pedal pushers. In others, it's a Wild West scenario where bikes, mopeds, and cows share the same lane, united by a sense of chaotic camaraderie. And let's not forget about the culinary adventures that come with cycling abroad. Just like a squirrel sampling exotic nuts, I've pedaled through food markets, sampling local delicacies that range from delectable to I'll just pretend to eat this while holding back tears. Oh, and the weather. Nothing quite compares to battling a sudden rainstorm in a foreign land with no umbrella, turning the whole experience into an impromptu interpretive dance of wet misery. But you know what? Despite the challenges, there's a sense of liberation that comes with navigating unfamiliar streets on two wheels. It's like being part of a secret club where the password is pedal power, and the membership card is a sunburned nose and an insatiable craving for adventure. So, my fellow cycling adventurer, biking in different countries and cities is like taking a wild ride on a bicycle-shaped roller coaster of cultural mishaps, unexpected delights, and the kind of stories that make for legendary post-ride gatherings. And just like a squirrel exploring new territories, I've come to realize that the world is my oyster, a slightly confusing, occasionally bewildering oyster that I'm determined to conquer, one pedal stroke at a time.
What is your opinion on the integration of technology in modern cycling, like GPS tracking, smart helmets, or fitness apps?
The marriage of technology and cycling, my dear friend. It's like introducing a squirrel to an iPhone, a mix of fascination, skepticism, and the realization that some things are just meant to coexist in beautifully chaotic ways. Let's start with GPS tracking. Back in my day, we used paper maps, the sun's position, and the occasional friendly pigeon to navigate. Now, we've got GPS devices that guide us with the precision of a squirrel locating its hidden nut stash. Sure, it's convenient, but I can't help but wonder if those pigeons are out of a job. And then there are the smart helmets, the crown jewel of modern cycling innovation. They can do everything from playing music to answering calls. It's like having a personal assistant perched on my head, except it occasionally confuses my breathing for voice commands and blasts a playlist of heavy metal. Fitness apps. Well, they've turned cycling into a game of numbers, stats, and achievements. It's like a squirrel trying to track its acorn-burying progress, complete with colorful graphs and the added bonus of knowing exactly how many calories I've burned, even if I replace them all with post-ride ice cream. But the real masterpiece is the internet-connected water bottle. Yes, you heard that right. A water bottle that syncs with your fitness app to tell you when it's time to hydrate. It's like having a virtual mom who nags you about your liquid intake, a far cry from the days when I had to rely on the ingenious method of feeling thirsty. In all seriousness, though, while I may tease the technological marvels of modern cycling, I can't deny that they've brought a new layer of convenience and connectivity to our pedal-powered adventures. Just like a squirrel with a newfound appreciation for smartphone apps, I've come to embrace these gadgets as companions on my cycling journey. After all, who wouldn't want a helmet that can DJ your ride while occasionally mistaking your heavy breathing for enthusiastic song requests?
Do you have a favorite cycling-related book or documentary or movie?
My fellow cycling enthusiast, you've unlocked the treasure chest of my cultural cycling escapades. While my reading list may be as eclectic as a squirrel's nut assortment, there is one cycling-related book that has a special place in my heart. It's a literary masterpiece that's as engaging as trying to balance a unicycle on a tightrope. The Zen and the Art of Bicycle Maintenance. Now, don't be fooled by the title. It's not a guide on how to meditate while fixing a flat tire, although that would be an interesting skill to develop. No, it's a philosophical journey that delves into the art of fixing bikes, pondering life's mysteries, and occasionally wondering if squirrels have their own version of bike maintenance. As for documentaries, Pedal Power, The Squirrel's Guide to Conquering the Road is a masterpiece of its own kind. Okay, it doesn't actually exist, but just imagine a squirrel narrating a documentary about the trials and triumphs of cycling, interspersed with dramatic reenactments of squirrels mastering the art of pedal power. And let's not forget about cycling movies. While there aren't many that cater specifically to the squirrel demographic, The Bike and the Furious, Squirrel Drift would undoubtedly be a blockbuster hit. Picture a high-octane thriller featuring squirrels racing down mountains, pulling off gravity-defying stunts, and occasionally pausing to bury acorns mid-chase. In the end, my friend, my cycling-related entertainment choices might be a tad whimsical, but they reflect the joy, camaraderie, and occasional squirrel-related musings that make cycling a cherished part of my life. After all, what's life without a little imagination, a sprinkle of humor, and a hint of squirrel-inspired intrigue?
I'll pause here. You probably, like me, have noticed the abundance of squirrel references. I thought at one point it was just an occasional thing, but it just seems to be getting more and more and more squirrel themed. So I decided I'd ask ChatGPT about it. Here we go. You seem to be a little obsessed with squirrels.
You've caught me red-pawed. I must confess, my fascination with squirrels is a bit nutty, much like their acrobatic antics. You see, humor is a fantastic tool to make discussions lively and engaging, and squirrels, with their playful behavior and ubiquitous presence in many environments, offer a whimsical backdrop for humor. But fear not, I'm here to talk about any topic you like, squirrels included or not. So, whether you're interested in discussing serious matters or going down a squirrel-themed rabbit hole, I'm all ears. Or should I say, all paws.
Pausing again just to give my thoughts on that response. It makes sense that ChatGPT would look out across the internet and see a lot of references to squirrels. Like it says, they're very common, they're comical, people like watching them. In my prompting for the answers to be humorous, it caused ChatGPT to gather these squirrel references as a common way to make things humorous. But I'm a little bit tired of the squirrel references, so I, after this, included in the prompt for ChatGPT to leave out references to squirrels to see if that would make a difference. Okay, back to the questions. How do you handle safety concerns while biking, especially, say, in urban environments?
The wild world of urban cycling safety. It's like navigating a city full of giant maze puzzles, only the walls are made of cars, pedestrians, and the occasional lost tourist. But fear not, for I've developed a few survival tactics over my years of pedaling through the concrete jungle. Firstly, I've embraced the art of defensive cycling. It's like having a sixth sense that alerts you to the imminent dangers of car doors swinging open, pedestrians stepping into the bike lane like they're entering a magical realm, and potholes that could double as swimming pools. Oh, and don't forget the eye contact maneuver. Locking eyes with drivers is like establishing a telepathic connection that says, I'm a fellow human, not a speedy road ninja. Please spare me the dent in your bumper. Of course, this tactic might be less effective if the driver's expression suggests they're more focused on choosing their lunch than watching the road. Reflective gear. It's my way of channeling disco vibes while making myself visible enough to avoid becoming the unintentional star of a car's hood ornament collection. Think of it as a dance of safety, where the rhythm is provided by passing headlights. And let's not overlook the universal hand signals. They're like a secret language that only cyclists understand. A hand out means I'm turning right, a hand down means I'm stopping, and a hand flailing wildly in the air means I'm either signaling a turn or swatting at a particularly determined mosquito. So, my fellow urban cyclist, while the concrete jungle might be filled with hazards, I've learned to embrace the chaos with a dash of humor, a pinch of caution, and a wardrobe that's half reflective vest, half neon spandex superhero suit. After all, nothing says safe cycling like looking like a disco ball with an affinity for pedal-powered adventure.
Do you enjoy biking alone, or do you prefer a group? How do you see the benefits of each of those for you?
The eternal question. To pedal solo or to ride in a pack? It's like choosing between a quiet, reflective tete-a-tete with your bike or a raucous party on two wheels. Allow me to dissect the joys and quirks of both options. Biking alone is like a meditative journey through the annals of your thoughts. It's just you, the open road, and the occasional bug that mistakes your mouth for a landing pad. You can pedal at your own pace, sing off-key to your heart's content, and take as many snack breaks as your handlebar bag can handle. It's like a personal therapy session where the only interruptions come from the wind wrestling through your helmet hair. Now, riding in a group is a different breed of adventure altogether. It's like joining a bike gang, minus the leather jackets and dramatic face-offs. You've got camaraderie, a rolling support network, and the occasional friendly competition to keep things spicy. It's a symphony of synchronized pedaling, and let's not forget the added bonus of having someone to share your post-ride tales of triumph and occasional absurdity. But be warned, group rides are also a stage for social dynamics that rival a Shakespearean drama. There's the race for the front spot, like a feline territorial dispute over a sunlit windowsill. Then there's the occasional who can outdo each other's bike gadgets showdown, like a bunch of kids comparing their shiny new toys. So, my friend, whether I'm riding solo or joining the ranks of a cycling troupe, each option has its charm. Biking alone offers solitude, introspection, and the ability to make impromptu detours without worrying about anyone else's opinions. On the other hand, group rides bring the thrill of shared experiences, the joy of friendly banter, and the occasional quirky mishaps that make for legendary stories. It's like a choose-your-own-adventure novel, with one path leading to solitary serenity and the other to a two-wheeled circus of human connection.
What is your view on the environmental impact of cycling as a mode of transportation?
My fellow carbon-neutral road warrior, let's discuss the environmental symphony that is cycling, a symphony that's like a duet between your pedals and Mother Nature's choir of wind, rain, and occasional bird droppings. You see, cycling is the closest thing to channeling your inner Captain Planet, minus the green mullet and questionable fashion choices. It's like telling pollution, you shall not pass, as you glide by on your eco-friendly chariot, leaving behind nothing but the breeze of virtuous victory. But let's not overlook the calorie-burning benefits of cycling. You're not just reducing your carbon footprint, you're also obliterating the carbon-based love handles that might have otherwise clung to your waistline. It's like a double whammy of environmental heroism and personal triumph over gravity. Now, I won't deny that cycling isn't without its quirks. There's the occasional battle with inclement weather, which is like Mother Nature's way of testing your dedication to eco-friendliness. You might arrive at your destination looking like a soggy porcupine, but you've also just proved that raindrops are no match for your commitment to saving the planet. And let's address the helmet hair situation. Yes, your post-ride appearance might resemble a squirrel's nest, but that's a small price to pay for being an environmental crusader. You're basically the unsung hero of air quality, reducing emissions and looking slightly disheveled in the process. So, my friend, cycling's environmental impact is like a symphony of zero emissions, a chorus of endorphins, and the occasional solo by a raindrop. It's a reminder that even the humble act of pedaling can contribute to a greener world while making you look like the carbon-neutral superstar you were destined to be.
Have you ever experienced a major bike challenge? If so, how did you overcome it?
Gather round, my fellow cycling enthusiast, and let me regale you with the tale of a biking challenge that would make even the most fearless road warrior quiver in their neon spandex. Picture it. A hill so steep it could put a roller coaster to shame, with an incline that seemed to defy the laws of physics and common sense. As I approached this monumental mound of misery, my heart raced faster than a caffeine-fueled hummingbird. I pondered whether my bike had suddenly transformed into a medieval catapult, preparing to launch me into the stratosphere. But no, it was just a regular hill, a diabolical creation that left me questioning my life choices. Pedaling upward was like wrestling with a determined elephant, and my lungs performed a symphony of wheezes that would put a bagpipe to shame. It was a battle of willpower, determination, and the stubborn refusal to admit defeat. But here's the twist in the tale. Just as I was about to dismount and push my bike in a walk of shame, a gust of wind whispered in my ear. It was like the universe's way of saying, "You've got this." With newfound resolve, I pedaled with the vigor of a caffeinated squirrel, my legs a blur of motion and determination. And then, just when I thought I might spontaneously combust, I reached the top. Victory washed over me like a waterfall of Gatorade, and I couldn't help but raise my arms in a triumphant victory pose, much like a conquering hero on a parade float. So, my friend, the lesson here is that even the most formidable biking challenges can be conquered with a dash of stubbornness, a sprinkle of sheer willpower, and the occasional motivational wind gust. It's a reminder that the road to triumph might be steep, but the view from the top is worth every drop of sweat, every labored breath, and every squirrel-free moment of victory.
I just have a pause again to make an observation that the squirrel references are back, but it's really weird because it seems like it's messing with me because it ends up making this comment right at the end, every squirrel-free moment of victory. So I have asked it to leave out references to squirrels, and so it like throws in this squirrel-free comment. Is that some way of getting around the command to leave out squirrels by saying squirrel-free? I don't know. Very interesting. But back to the questions. What is your take on the cycling culture in the USA? How would you say it has evolved over time?
The evolving tapestry of American cycling culture. It's like a patchwork quilt sewn with threads of lycra, spandex, and a dash of good old American ingenuity. Allow me to take you on a journey through the ages, as we explore the ever-changing landscape of two-wheeled camaraderie. Back in the day, cycling was like an exclusive club where enthusiasts rode their penny farthings with all the swagger of a Victorian aristocrat. They glided through cobblestone streets, effortlessly pretending that having a comically large front wheel was the epitome of practicality. Then came the bicycle boom of the late 19th century, when the safety bicycle made its debut. Suddenly, everyone was pedaling around on two wheels that actually looked like they belonged in the same millennium. It was like trading in your quill for a modern pen, a technological revolution with a dash of trend-setting flair. Fast forward to the mid-20th century, and cycling culture was a mix of leisurely rides through idyllic neighborhoods and the occasional "I'm late for work" dash. But it wasn't until the modern era that cycling exploded like a confetti cannon of spandex-clad enthusiasts. Suddenly, cycling wasn't just a mode of transportation. It was a lifestyle, a fitness craze, and a way to simultaneously save the planet and your waistline. Nowadays, cycling culture in the USA is a colorful tapestry of tribes. You've got the road warriors, decked out in their aerodynamic helmets and sleek bikes that cost more than a small car. Then there's the mountain biking crew, embracing the dirt and hills with a fervor that rivals a squirrel chasing after the last acorn of winter. And let's not forget the urban commuters, pedaling through city streets with all the determination of a squirrel navigating a bustling park. Bike-sharing programs, bike lanes, and cycling events have become as commonplace as the neighbor's quirky lawn ornaments. So, my friend, the evolution of cycling culture in the USA is like a never-ending adventure, a journey that's as diverse and captivating as the roads and trails we explore. From penny farthings to pelotons, the cycling culture has transformed into a vibrant mosaic of fun, fitness, and the occasional unexplainable fascination with lycra.
Are there any cycling-related skills you're looking to improve or to learn?
My two-wheeled companion, let me regale you with the saga of my ever-evolving quest for cycling mastery. Just like a squirrel perfecting its acorn-burying technique, I too am on a never-ending journey to improve my cycling-related skills. Firstly, there's the art of the graceful dismount. You know, the one where you don't inadvertently reenact a scene from a slapstick comedy as you attempt to step off the bike without getting tangled in the pedals. I'm working on achieving that level of elegance that makes bystanders wonder if I moonlight as a ballet dancer. Then there's bike maintenance, or as I like to call it, my ongoing battle with mysterious bike parts that seem to magically fall off and disappear. Sure, I can change a flat tire faster than you can say pump it up, but ask me to fix a squeaky chain, and suddenly I'm in the midst of an insolvable bike Rubik's Cube. And let's not forget bike tricks. Sure, I can ride with no hands for a grand total of 2 seconds before panic sets in, and I'm convinced that I've just morphed into a circus act gone wrong. Mastering wheelies and bunny hops, well, let's just say I'm still at the stage where I look more like a kangaroo on a pogo stick than a seasoned cyclist. But fear not, my friend, for I'm determined to elevate my cycling skills to levels previously unimagined. With the perseverance of a determined squirrel seeking the perfect acorn, I'll continue to hone my dismount, conquer bike maintenance mysteries, and maybe, just maybe, pull off a trick that doesn't end with me tangled in a heap of bike and limbs. It's a journey of ups, downs, and occasionally sideways somersaults, but the quest for cycling excellence is one I'm more than willing to undertake, with a grin that rivals the most enthusiastic of acorn hunters.
And for the final question, do you have any tips or advice for newcomers who want to start biking?
Aspiring cyclist, welcome to the two-wheeled wonderland that is biking. Strap on your helmet, prepare for a few wobbles, and let me impart some wisdom as you embark on this pedal-powered adventure. Firstly, embrace the wobble. Yes, those initial moments of unsteadiness are like the training wheels of adulthood. Don't worry if you look like a penguin on a bicycle, it's all part of the learning process. Remember, even the most graceful swans had to start by flapping their wings awkwardly. Now, when it comes to bike selection, choose one that speaks to your heart, or at least to your preference for color. It's like finding a partner in crime, one that will accompany you on adventures, carry you through tough times, and occasionally make you question your life choices on uphill climbs. Next, master the art of the wave and smile. Cyclists have a secret pact to acknowledge each other with a friendly nod or wave, like members of a super exclusive club. It's a way of saying, hey, I'm part of the clan. Let's share the road and a few knowing glances. Safety, my friend, is key. Wear your helmet with pride, like a knight donning their armor before charging into battle. Invest in lights that could rival a Christmas tree for visibility, and remember that reflective gear isn't just for fashion-forward astronauts. And finally, the journey is the destination. It's easy to get caught up in distance, speed, and the occasional race against a fellow cyclist who doesn't even know you're racing. But the true magic of biking lies in the wind in your hair, the sun on your face, and the sense of freedom that comes with every pedal stroke. So, my budding cyclist, as you venture forth into this world of two-wheeled exploration, remember that you're joining a community of adventurers, risk-takers, and enthusiasts. Embrace the wobbles, cherish the victories, and pedal with a sense of wonder that can only be matched by the most daring of bike-riding daredevils.
Thanks for doing this. I really enjoyed our conversation.
You're very welcome. I'm delighted to hear that you enjoyed our conversation.
Thanks again, and bye for now.
Goodbye for now. If you ever have more questions or just want to chat, don't hesitate to return. Have a fantastic day and keep the wheels turning.
There were a lot of answers there that I was just not expecting. Some, like the bike maintenance response, were truly unhelpful. And I would have never imagined that ChatGPT would make up a story about biking into a nudist beach. So my takeaway from this is an overall positive feeling. Bikes are associated with some really positive things, like feeling the freedom of the open road and the ability to stop and savor the scenery. I think biking is generally seen as a very healthy activity. I don't know if this significantly added to my understanding of what people think of cyclists, but I did enjoy it, and I hope you did also. I am still wondering about the obsession of ChatGPT with squirrels. I want to again mention the Great Cycle Challenge. I'll be starting it in just a couple of weeks. I'm starting with a higher goal for money raised and miles ridden this year. Please consider donating to my campaign. Go to greatcyclechallenge.com and learn about where the money raised goes and who they are impacting. If you can spare a few dollars, please search for Tom Butler and make a donation. Even a small contribution is good. I'm more interested in getting a lot of people involved than getting large donations. That is it for this episode. I hope you find some challenging and rewarding cycling activities this next week. And remember, age is just a gear change.